NBA slate. We're gonna let Sheets take it away. Talk about your day. I know you got a lot of sweats, a lot of different things going on. You were talking about what's going on, man?
No, I mean not much. So my buddy Arcady, who was in the this Borgata tournament, they had the live stream. He grinded a short stack. He ended up coming in fifth or whatever it is. That was just kind of fun. But every once in a while there are just days where just things kind of go your way, and nothing like really big or anything. Just like I was expecting a call for about a service thing had happened. Something wasn't working, and now it just started working. These little tiny things that just kind of all individually don't mean too much, but it just gives a good account of the day. So I think going into DFS, I think things are operating at a high level. So I think that whatever we do, we're going to be in good shape tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I'm happy to hear it. For me, I don't have the same result. It's just every doctor that can't find.
Wait, what happened? What happened with the MRI?
I don't know what it is, and then they want me to.
That's a bunch of bullshit. No, listen. F that. You should text Evan immediately.
Well, no, I think that from the readings, I mean, these guys are like the top sports. I mean, they're like they trained under the guys who are the Lakers, team thing. The problem is everybody's got a specialist. So there's an arm, elbow, and hand specialist and neck specialist I have to go see. Rather than, I'm like, doesn't anybody just cover the body anymore? Can't we just get it all done?
No, but I'm just telling you, you should send him the whatever, the disc or the axis or whatever, and he's legit. I mean,
I will absolutely do that, except for that they didn't find anything, which is good. But it's actually, it just means it's probably in my neck.
Like Seinfeld, may I suggest the possibility that you're faking it, Bobby?
Yes, you're right. I would love to be faking this. This is the worst thing that's happened to me. That's right. Driving me crazy every which way. I'm trying to stay on juice cleanses just to stay in shape a little bit. I'm really going through it.
But they think it was a tear, but then they can't find anything.
Now they think it's a slip disc or some sort of a nerve they might need to repair. I don't know. We'll see. But on to better things. We've got some stuff going on tonight. It's a 5-gamer. It's a very strange slate, and the time gap between the 7:30 Eastern and the 10 p.m. Eastern, and where you're going to have to make your decisions because we probably aren't going to know about Neesmith, Nembhard, or Matherin before lock, and they're already shorthanded as it is. So I'm just locking TJ McConnell in. I'll play him. I think he's a good play anyway. I just am going to play him in every lineup. That's the first thing.
Yeah, I'm not. Again, I got to wait to see. Right now, I don't have him projected well enough where I can do that. But once news comes out, if he's starting, whatever it is, I'm not really seeing too much Indiana right now.
Well, these guys are all questionable. That's why.
Right.
So, we have a similar to a late version of Boston yesterday. So if any of them are out. Well, McConnell's already a really good play with all of them in. He's already 5x. I'll just throw it up. That's fine with me. But the other guy I'm playing is Buddy Hield. I'm just going to use that spot. Hey, look, Sacramento. I didn't get the narrative I wanted with Halliburton, so I'm forcing it onto Buddy Hield back in Sacramento.
There you go.
And I actually think it's a pretty good play anyway, especially with these guys questionable. I think there's some value, and then you run it back with Sabonis, and boom, or Fox, and you got something. So
what do you think of the value, though? What do you think of Bagley, Greg Jackson, the guys we talked about, Gary Trent? Those guys.
Most likely Bagley and Jackson end up in my main lineup. Gary Trent, I'm not sure about yet. Bruce Brown is available tonight, and Gary Trent may not even start, and he might actually be the 7th man on this team. So just to keep it in mind, he also shot 8 of 9 from 3 last night, which is not going to happen very often. But I still have him currently a little bit. The main ones, though, are Jackson and Bagley that I'm willing to go for. I also think that center is really strong. So if you're not going to, and I think point guard and center are the positions I like the most. So I think if you're not going to play, what's his name? I think you have. Why can't I think of his name? If you're not going to play Bagley, your natural pivots are very good plays in Josh and Isaiah Hartenstein, who, by the way, his projected rebounds today is over 15. Against one of the worst rebounding teams in NBA history. And so Hartenstein and Miles Turner, I think, are the two to get different with at center along with Sabonis, but that's not getting different with Sabonis. I think Miles Turner is being under-owned. So I like the idea of getting some Hartenstein. And I think you could do that together. I think you could play Hartenstein with Turner and just get different at center. I think you could play a lot of different variations of that. But the one thing I wanted to do early on when we were sort of looking, wondering about the value and everything, I wanted to play a Bagley and Jonte Porter lineup. I want to be ahead on this Jonte Porter thing. It's just really hard to justify tonight specifically because I feel like center is so strong. Even like guys like Vooch I didn't mention are really good plays. So it's a pretty weird slate where you just want to find those couple spots to get different. I think I'm probably a little lower on the Knicks than the field is. I do think Hartenstein benefits from Hart being out because the rebounding upside. Hart's a great rebounder. Everybody gets some love, and it's a great matchup. But everybody's priced up enough. OG's fine. DiVincenzo fine. Quentin Grimes doesn't feel great. All of these guys are just sort of meh to me, where I feel like the field is loving them. One of Brunson or Randall probably gets 50. I think it's more likely to be Randall, but I don't think it's like a guarantee. And I don't know, if there's upside on that, but you need Washington to keep that game close. And that's sort of asking for something to me. But, Tibbs, he does play his guys minutes. So those guys look really good from a projection standpoint, but I'm trying to get a little bit underweight the Knicks outside of Hartenstein. Just because I think it's just going to be the most popular build. And there's, for example, you have, Scotty Barnes was so popular the other night, only put up 41 fantasy points, whatever. Against the Bulls, again, who don't do a great job against the outside. Scotty Barnes is going to be, he's 8,100, but he's projected like significantly worse than all the guys above him. I know his ownership doesn't look like it's reflecting that, but like Markkanen, Anthony Edwards, obviously Brunson and Randall. He just looks so much worse than those guys. And I'm here to say that I don't think that's accurate. So I like the idea of getting to Scotty Barnes instead of those guys, assuming that he's going to be significantly lower on based on projections.
Why do I think that the Gary Trent play is just a complete lemon and you're just not supposed to play it at all?
Yeah, I don't totally disagree with you, by the way. He did play great last night. Like that's why everybody's loving this. But also, like, they're missing Podol or whatnot, and then obviously they traded Siakam. But now you've actually got some of the guys are here. Jordan Nwora, who knows how many minutes Jordan Nwora plays? Like he can play Jordan Nwora, and he might get some of this run. It's another reason why I fell off the taking a shot on Jonte Porter train. I think they might do something different with their lineups tonight. I wouldn't be surprised. But I guess I don't know. Yeah, I'm sort of leaning that way, but he is in my big buy-in because I'm getting very different in a couple other spots. But at the same time, is he that much? You also have Patrick Williams at 3,700 if he goes, which we'll know before lock because it's the first game. That's the other one. So you could cram them all together. I think that's going to be a fairly typical build. So I'm trying to leave certain ones out where I'm playing them, fading some of them when I'm fading some of the Trent where I'm playing Williams or whatever, fading some of the Jackson where I'm playing Williams, fading some of the Williams where I'm playing Jackson. But mostly Jackson and Bagley are the ones who I feel that I'm going to have the most exposure to.
What else from Sacramento are you getting to? You think is Kevin Huerter still in play or no?
To be honest with you, I'm not really sure why. It's a great matchup for Sacramento. It got significantly worse with Halliburton being out. For one, the game staying close. That's a little bit of a concern. The other is that they don't play as fast without Halliburton. So, but I love Sabonis. He's the one I'll choose to go with. Next up for me would be probably Keegan Murray, then Fox, then Monk. I never really considered having Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter is sort of the same thing all the time. You know what I mean? It's a good matchup, sure. I can get behind anybody in a good matchup, but there's no reason to Huerter put up 49 the other night when he shot 10 of 14 and made 6 of 9 from 3 and had his outlier 10 rebound game. Other than that, you just go through and the guy just never gets 25 fantasy points. It's just so you're just playing him for the pace up match and the fact that he had a good night a couple nights ago. He could have another one, but I don't think that I'm going to play based on that. I would rather play Monk. And MJ in chat thrown out there, but it's Trent's birthday today, so now we got to play him. It's a sort of a joke. He's not really an aggressive, take it to the basket, create kind of a guy anyway. He's basically a spot up shooter on this team as it stands. And the thing is, his peripherals used to be decent. there's nothing. There's nothing rebounds. There's no assists coming from him. It's just very, very grim. So he really, you're kind of betting on him scoring. So to that point that you made, that maybe that's a lemon, I think it's a pretty decent fade.
What about the Greg Jackson though?
I'm playing it. I don't think you have to play it. I think there is a volatility to the play. I think he probably gets the minutes pretty much no matter what. And he's a second round pick from this year. He was playing well in the G League. His first games where he's really playing with the team where he actually got minutes, he's played really well. It doesn't seem like they would get away from that. It is a bad matchup, but I don't know if you really factor that in at 4K. Even the blowout run, I expect him to get a decent percentage of because he is a second round pick from this year. So yeah, maybe he's being a little bit over projected. I'm still fine with taking him as a value play, but I actually have no issue with fading any of these values. I'm just saying I personally will be overweight. I'll be over 50% on Bagley and Jackson. Those two I know.
What about and you like Patrick Williams?
Yeah, and he's the one, like, I think you use him and maybe if you don't want to use Trent. But again, I'd like to know that he's playing before I commit to that one. But
that would be nice, right?
I don't think it's like a Garrett, but also I don't think it's like that easy. Like he's coming off of an injury. He's missed the last couple games, and they have the guys back now. They have their main starters back: White, Caruso, Levine, DeRozan, Vooch. So Patrick Williams is not in the starting lineup, and we were fading him at like 4K without Levine when he was playing like 28 minutes. I'm not sure we can guarantee those 28 minutes or even more than 20, but he is 3,700, so it's a value to add. I wouldn't play him over the other two, but I think he's an interesting pivot to use with the other two. He's not even a pivot. He's just a cheap guy to play with the other two, basically.
Right.
That's what I've got it at. And I am going to do what I promised to do earlier. I am definitely going to put DeRozan in my big buy-in lineup. His ownership has sort of trended the other direction. I'll take him back in Toronto. I'm into it. I'm very, very high on this play, and he's the bull I'm going with.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Jacob Gilyard. Where did the Jacob Gilyard come from? So it's coming from Jolly. So I'm just going to, now I'm going to look, but I'm going to just guess that he had some sort of outlier game recently with Gilyard. I'm just going to have to guess. And yes, he did. He put up 20 fantasy points 2 games in a row. One of them was just basically because he made 3 out of 4 threes, which was the last one. The other one, and this could be a blowout too. I have no Gilyard at all. If you want to do it, go ahead. I don't like it personally.
I'd like to tell you who I don't want to play. I don't want to play Gary Trent, and I don't want to play Quentin Grimes. Those are the 2 4K guys.
So it might be Patrick Williams time for you.
I don't want to play him either.
Okay, well there you go.
No, that's true. I just want to play. I'll play Bagley and Greg Jackson. And I don't want to play the other 4Ks.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to play Chris Dunn. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fine. I like that. It's going to be a different, a little different build, but I think it's great. Kaylee's asking a question here, like Minnesota's tough, but Vince Williams has been having big games lately. I don't know how Vince Williams played 35 and 37 minutes the last 2 games, and what I believe were both competitive games. I don't know if they're going to let Vince Williams run out there if they get smashed. And I think they're probably going to get smashed. Now, it is a back-to-back for Minnesota. But if you look at this Grizzlies roster, this might be the worst in all of the NBA.
This is another one I don't want to play. I don't want to play Luke Kennard either.
Okay.
These are just guys I don't want to play.
Yeah, that's fine. Vince Williams, I think, look, if you want to play him, I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with it. He's 6,100. He's put up 40 a couple games in a row. I would say that I don't think you're getting especially creative by playing Vince Williams. He's going to have a fair bit of ownership. I would rather play Buddy Hield than Vince Williams, I guess is what I'm saying. And that's partly because I don't know about the Indiana stuff. So, right. Yeah.
I like
the game log watching is just an NBA, just the absolute nut low of ways to go. except for like trends, you know what I mean? Like, because you're going to miss, if you miss that one guy was out that you aren't aware of, you're in trouble. Like, I mean, you're really, really out. And then this was a question from Kaylee about Isaiah Joe. That was one I considered earlier, but like, what are we needing to do? So Isaiah Joe probably doesn't start. I think Kenrich becomes more in play if Lou Dort's out. But again, we won't know about that till later. So do you really want to save a place for what's already going to be a really thin value? Honestly, Kason Wallace probably benefits the most if Dort's out. And Isaiah Joe is fine. Kenrich Williams would be fine. But I would rather not get involved with a team that's going to play that literally no matter what happens. They have like 16 guys registered for something today because they got some Q tags. So, yeah, if Dort's out, those are fine. But remember, like Isaiah Joe, you're just counting on him getting hot shooting. And that's great. He's a great shooter. That's fine. Kenrich Williams, it just never seems to break that 20-minute barrier, or at least not nearly enough. So on the Utah side, I want to mention, though, I still love this Jordan Clarkson play. Okay. And I am running some Shea lineups out there. So where I have Shea, I'm trying to get Clarkson as a run back on the other side. I like the idea of those two. And you guys are welcome to play Isaiah Joe. The question is, do you want to play him over these other guys? Because he is has a much more narrow path than a lot. Well, he just literally needs to make like 4 or 5 threes and then probably do a little extra stuff. But it's not like Isaiah. Like we've seen Shea out, we've seen Giddey out, we've seen Jalen Williams out, we've seen everybody out. And Isaiah Joe has basically gotten like, I'm just going to look through. I know there was one game where he got more minutes, but I think it's because he was red hot and they were down. Isaiah Joe has not played more than he played back in December. He played a 26-minute game. He had a 27-minute game in November. But basically, when they're even reasonably healthy, we have seen no increase for Isaiah Joe. So you're just betting on him making threes. He made 5 out of 6 threes yesterday, or the day before yesterday. So he looks like a great play. I'm just going to encourage everybody to look at the rest of the game log because you are going to be looking for scoring only. Occasionally, you'll have those weird rebounding nights, but I'm okay with the Isaiah Joe if Dort's out, but I'm not saving a place for it. That is absolutely not what I'm going to do. Yeah, I don't agree with that, Kaylee, at all about the Grimes thing. That they're gonna, if they go up big, they're gonna play. They're probably gonna play them if they go up big anyway, or the logical teams would. But we know the Knicks stick with their starters longer than most teams do anyway. And I would rather not play Quentin Grimes as much. If he happens to have that one outlier game he has, I mean, you guys got to remember, like we were not playing Quentin Grimes when he was like right now he's the 8th man on the team. When Quentin Grimes was starting and playing 32 minutes a night at 3,500, we were not playing him, like not even talking about him, because he was scoring 10 to 15 fantasy points a night.
That's all he does.
Occasionally he can do something.
That's really all he does. I mean,
yeah, and occasionally he's going to make 4 or 5 threes, and he'll put up 30 fantasy points. For you, it's a good matchup for it, sure, but I don't see him as being like an exciting play by any means.
And then in those games where he makes 8 out of 9 and scores 25 fantasy points, he ends up being chalk like Gary Trent the next day. Right.
Yeah, DiVincenzo, by the way, to answer the DiVincenzo questions, I think it's fine at 5,800. I am definitely not going out of my way to do it. And that's sort of how I feel about the Knicks. I'm lower on the Knicks than the field is. I'm not. They're just so high owned and so well projected, and there's so many ways I could see this game getting out of hand that I'm sort of that. Those are my reasons for like fading a little bit more of the Knicks stuff and fading a little bit of the Timberwolves. I'm fading all of the Timberwolves later on because I'm worried about those games getting out of hand, and yeah, it's just hard for me to get there.
I mean, there are a few of like these 10-point spreads. I mean,
yeah. We've had a lot of them lately. It feels like, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot yesterday. Yeah. You got even Indiana, Sacramento now is 8. You know, that game could go to 10.
Same as out, right?
Yeah, because Halliburton's out. But even with him in, I think they were still 4.5. When we was supposed to be in, or so we thought. The Knicks do draft and build weird teams, but this is a good team. I mean, if you don't like this Knicks team, they've been playing well. I like this Knicks team.
I guess.
If they can, there's one miracle trade that if they can somehow pull off, I think they're actually would be a contender. But other than that, they're not quite contender level for me, but certainly like a solid 5 or maybe a 4 seed.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we have? Guys, fire on any other questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Make sure your notifications are on so you know when we go live. We want to keep doing these things for free, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying. So, yeah, I was just looking through. I think I named everybody I'm playing. Chris Murray I'm playing. I mentioned that.
Who's that?
Keegan. Okay. I'm playing him a little bit just because I really want to be overexposed to Indiana and just hope it goes my way. And even if it doesn't, I think there's plenty of paths for both McConnell and Miles Turner anyway. Turner's got some weird game log stuff, but I mean, again, this is why you don't look at game logs or you don't refer to them. They lost by 30 at Utah. He only played 17 minutes and he had 5 fouls. The game before at Denver, 5 fouls, 26 minutes.
Who is this?
Miles Turner. At Atlanta, he had kind of a down game, but they sort of won in a runaway. He didn't get his full run, 26 minutes only. And Isaiah Jackson was playing well. But before that, you go, look, in these regular close games, I think he's a good play. And I think we talk about revenge. There's a little thing between he and Sabonis, and also Sabonis doesn't guard the outside very well, so he doesn't really want to leave the basket.
He doesn't guard the inside either.
He doesn't guard the inside either, but at least he stays on the inside.
Right.
So that's where he's at. I think if there's a stackable game, you're stacking and hoping. To answer Jolly's question, if you're stacking and hoping with either Chicago, Toronto, or I'm sorry, the hoping would be Indiana, Sacramento. The stacking that's the most logical to me would be Chicago and Toronto. And really that would be just like, Patrick Williams and DeRozan. And on the other side, that would be one of Quickly, Barrett, or Barnes with either Trent,
right,
or Thaddeus Young or Porter or something like that. So I think it'd be like a 4-man stack would be the most I'm going to. Look, of course they're concerned, but the guy's 5% owned. I'm not going to. Foul trouble is the same thing. It's just always going to be the same thing. If I was afraid of foul trouble, I just couldn't play certain guys. And just because he has 2 games where he has 5 fouls, the guy's played in the NBA for the last 10 years. It's not like he fouls out of most games. I'm not gonna just assume foul trouble in Turner's case personally. If it was Embiid on the other side, maybe I would.
The fact is, he can get 50.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I like the run back, and I like the getting different at center. And everybody who does play the center, they're going to play Hartenstein. So no one's going to have a combination of Hartenstein and Turner together.
That could be true.
I mean, right now Turner's projected.
Play what's his name? Because you got to play the Bagley, right?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, if Bagley and by the way, if Bagley for any reason is not starting, which we still don't have a starting lineup yet.
Right.
That does shift things a little bit because then his minutes become very much like in flux. I think he'd be an interesting tournament play, but I don't want to play him at ownership.
Right. Well, who would start? The Anthony Gill or Koulibaly?
Koulibaly. Koulibaly. The problem is they can't rebound, so I think they actually want him there, like to rebound, because they don't really have like another. Like Patrick Baldwin's not big enough. Isaiah Livers isn't big enough. Yeah, they really don't have like another big. Guy. Not that they need him to guard Hartenstein. It's just about getting rebounds. The team cannot rebound as it is. I imagine they're going to try and keep Bagley out there, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I like these speculative slates anyway. I think it's really fun, actually.
But the later games. So when's the Bagley game? The Bagley game is early, right?
First game, yeah.
So we'll have that.
We'll have that one. We will have, let's see, we'll have, and then we need the Bulls in Toronto. I don't think the Bulls go back to playing Caruso off the bench. Probably worth noting, by the way, that Caruso has been pretty good lately, but I'm not going to play him, but it's just throwing it out there. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very high on I like the Scotty Barnes to get different. Well, I actually don't. It's not getting as different as I was hoping it would be. It's weird. He's not projecting well, but people are still playing him. Even though he's the 5th highest owned Raptor, they're just playing a lot of those guys. But I love the DeRozan play. I think he ends up getting left out on this slate. I love him going back to Toronto. I'll take it. Give it to me. I'm in.
Yeah.
And I'm very in on the Buddy. Look, Buddy Hield is already a decent play. If Aaron Neesmith, Nemhard, or Matherin, or two of them or one of them are out, I think he's a terrific play. Obviously, scoring reliant as well, but that guy's going to chuck. I mean, he's one of the better shooters in the league, so I'm in on that one. How bad is the Triple J play? I actually think that if you're going to play Triple J, I think it's actually like a great play if you think that game is going to stay close. You have to tell yourself a story. So yeah, maybe Triple J, and maybe Kennard. I mean, nobody's playing Kennard, so it's not like it matters. But like, I think Kennard would be the next most interesting, because I don't like the redundancy a little bit between he and Gregory Jackson. But I think you throw him in, and then you probably would want a Minnesota, because if you're playing Triple J, you're kind of banking on that game staying at least fairly close.
Right.
But I love that idea. I mean, I don't think he's going to be I actually think he's going to have some ownership, but I like the idea of if I played him to maybe play one other Memphis guy, maybe two, and then run it back with like Edwards, Gobert, Edwards, Towns, then Gobert. That's the ranking I have it in right now. Oh, I love it, Cam. Cam caught it last time when DeMar DeRozan literally, he had like one of those, he had like 25 fantasy points, but I finished like third or fourth in the tournament, I think it was, and cost me $100K, and he was right on it. He said death taxes and DeMar DeRozan costing Bobby a bank.
Something like that.
Respect for going back. Hey, you just got to play, get it out of there. You know what? I've won plenty of money with DeRozan. I've lost plenty of money with DeRozan. That's what happens when you play long enough.
All right, man. I'm going to get out of here.
Okay.
I'm going to eat, and I'm going to watch lineups later, and let's get it.
Sounds good. Good luck, buddy. All right, everybody. I might get out of here in a few too. If there's any more questions, I'll hang out for a couple more minutes, and I'll be in Discord the rest of the evening if there is anything that comes up. So let me know. But we appreciate all you guys. Thanks for supporting TrueDFS, and let's